Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, the show for visionary coaches, healers, wellness pros, and small business owners who aren't just here to host another feel-good getaway, but to build a profitable, impactful retreat business. I'm your host, Shannon Jamail, retreat strategist, business mentor, and owner of a 46-acre retreat center. I've hosted over 100 retreats around the world, and I've made every mistake so you don't have to. Each week, we'll dive into the mindset, marketing, money, business, and mechanics behind sold-out, profitable retreats. Plus, hear from expert guests who are walking the talk. Whether you're planning your first retreat or scaling your 100th, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. It's Shannon, and I am so excited about my guest that I have today. This is Miss Sarah Riley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Shannon. It's lovely to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. We're going to talk about something that obviously is near and dear to my heart. But before we do, why don't you just start by telling everybody who you are and what you do?
Thank you. Well, you can probably tell by my accent that I'm not from the US. I actually am in the UK. I'm based in the southwest of Devon. I don't know if you know Devon. It's near Devon and Cornwall. Beautiful part of the world. It's just incredible. And I'm very lucky that I look over the sea from my office. So I'm incredibly lucky. But the whole world of online, the world of glamping, all of that has taken me on this wonderful path of exploration. And that has led me to the door of the industry in America and actually the Glamping Show America more specifically. So I work with a colleague of mine and we both organize the conference for the show, which is in Colorado. And that's how we met because we spotted you, we connected, and we decided we need to have Shannon on the stage at the conference. So that's how we met. And that was really exciting. So my world has been glamping and retreats and just basically helping people get involved in lifestyle businesses and a business of their own design, let's say, for many, many years, since 2010. And that is really where I started. So that's, people were coming to me to say, how do I start a glamping business? What structures do I focus on? How much does it cost? How can I get enough guests? Because these are all struggles that people have in the industry. I came from a background of hospitality, so a family business. It was all very kind of boutique. And so this for me was the ideal place to go next. And in a way, this is why retreats has come together with it, because a lot of glamping businesses, the owners were saying, I really want to improve my occupancy. What are the ways to do that? And retreats is one of those ways. It's a really fantastic element for hosts to improve the occupancy, improve their turnover and all of that good stuff. So that's really how I got to know about retreats. And so when we saw your business where you have used glamping and retreats, that's why we were so excited, because there's not many people doing what you're doing. And yet it's really perfect because glamping and retreats just go together like peanut butter and jam and cookies and milk and, all of that good stuff. It really is the perfect symbolic kind of connection, and it blends so well, and both elements really complement each other and help the guest have an even better experience. So with all of that in mind, I suppose I ought to tell really who so I'm Sarah Riley.
And I love it. We're going straight in, but yes,
straight in, as well as the Glamping Show Americas, which is where you'll be on stage. And so obviously if any of your audience wants to come and see you and meet you in person, then coming to the Glamping Show in September, that's the 29th and the 30th of September this year. It would be really lovely to kind of help make that happen. They can meet you and listen to everything that you've got to share on the stage. That would be great. And also if they, are curious about glamping and curious about how glamping is set up and things like that, well, they can reach out to me any way that they wish. But it's such a fantastic industry because it's experiential, and retreats is also
Experiential.
experiential.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why, I mean, you really nailed it. To me, they're like a perfect marriage in a lot of ways. If there was such a thing as a perfect marriage, that would be that would be glamping and retreats. And I am so excited to talk and be on the stage in September. So all of that information will absolutely be in the show notes. But it's such a great experience, not or opportunity, not just to meet me and other amazing people in the industry, but for those of you that are like wanting, I get contacted all the time, Sarah, from people who want to open a venue, specifically a retreat venue, right? And so this conversation can go two ways. There's people who maybe already have glamping venues or unique venues, and they're wanting to increase their occupancy, like you said. Retreats is a fantastic way to do that. Then there's people who are in the retreat business and they're wanting to open a venue, and they're just curious, like, what would that look like, and how do I get started? And my favorite way to point them is, well, have you thought about having glamping as the core element of your facilities, of your venue, of your structures? And so that's why to me, it's like, it's such a perfect combination, marriage, whatever you want to call it. And one of the things that I really believe why, and you and I talked about this when we last talked on Zoom, was the nature element. And so I'm going to let you take that though, because I know why in the retreat world, but you probably do as the retreat world too, but even from a human connection, tell us your version of why you think that is such a good part of it is glamping in nature.
Going back to the beginning, in a way, people start to say, what is glamping? And so
Mm,
there's a lot of different opinions about the definition. So we know that glamping is glamorous and camping blended together. It's just one word made out of those two.
yeah.
And I personally believe that if it is allowing someone to be out in nature, connect with nature, be under the stars, and to have a natural experience, but in comfort,
Hmm.
that's what I believe glamping to be.
Love it.
And it could be anything in so many different structures. So we've got cabins, we've got vintage caravans, we've got safari tents, we've got teepees, anything
Yurts,
goes.
star
Yeah.
domes. Yeah. I
Mirror
mean, every,
cabins. I mean, it's just incredible the
yes.
things. And I mean, if anyone comes to the show in September, the things that you will see, the different structures are exciting beyond anything. So, yes, absolutely. Retreat centers are really exciting, and glamping as a retreat center is even more exciting. So, if you
Yeah.
think about it from the perspective of your audience, the audience is probably thinking about their budget if they're a retreat leader and they're thinking,
Hmm.
how do I set up a retreat where it's, not too expensive? And you look at the budget, probably accommodation is one of the biggest expenses on
Hmm.
that budget. And so having your own location, having your own retreat center is fabulous. And
Yeah.
but the mistake I think some people make is that they think a good glamping site is cheap to set up.
I'm
And
so glad you're going there because at first I was like, is she going to say it's cheap?
I'm not going to say it's
It's
cheap.
okay. I'm so glad.
No, it's definitely not cheap. And a lot of people also consider that there's probably no permissions. They just need the land and that's
Hmm.
it. And so these are myths I like to bust at the beginning
Yep.
because it is there's some complications to setting up a glamping site, no matter which country you are setting it up in, whether it's the UK, Europe, or USA. There
Yeah.
are permissions that you need to have in place. You do need to consider things like your budget,
Yep.
but there are also lots of options and opportunities as well. So
Yeah.
for glamping, because of the nature of glamping, the exciting sexiness of the whole thing, it is an experience in itself just to
Yep.
stay and have the accommodation. It
Yep.
means that it's open to be able to attract crowdfunding and other options that maybe a different style of accommodation wouldn't
Hmm.
be able to attract. So this is something that we're very excited to talk about as well at the show this year, which is the different styles of raising funding, which
Hmm.
aren't the traditional banking models. So
Right.
what I'm trying to say is it's not cheap, but there are options to raising the funding, which are quite exciting and different from what you would normally expect. And yes, it does take a bit more time than just putting a tent on the ground. And there are a lot of people who can advise on exactly what you need to have in place.
Yeah.
And because of the nature of glamping, it being so different and so many exciting options, that you can go with some which are maybe a bit less onerous, a bit less difficult than
Right.
others.
Yep.
So a caravan or some kind of structure cabin, whatever, on wheels, which is movable, could
Mm-hmm.
potentially be easier because it can be built off-site.
Yep.
The utilities and everything can be put on site at that time. And then you just wheel the caravan or the cabin or whatever it is into place. And actually, this is the one of the models that people are using a lot for those kind of in the wilderness glamping experiences. Um,
Right.
so for that reason, there's, it really, I always say to people, the only limit is your imagination.
That's what I was thinking, because just going to the show, which if you are at all curious about glamping in the sense of either building your own venue or even what would that look like to just book a glamping venue, for your retreat, go to the show. My husband and I have gone every year. And the ideas alone, Sarah, that we get just from attending the show, between the conferences, between the expo, oh my gosh, the expo. And so it, you cannot almost imagine the different types of structures and buildings and experiences. I mean, every year I go, Sarah, there's something new that I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought of that. Or, I mean, the sky is the limit when it comes to that. And I love that you said these structures are an experience of themselves because they are. We have bought structures there. Our most recent one that we bought from the glamping show, when we bought it at the show, was a covered wagon from Conestoga. And so
Mm.
that's an experience. You're literally staying in a covered wagon. It's a true wagon. It's a 100% true wagon. You absolutely could hook it up and drive away with it. And it is such an incredible experience. So I love that you
Mm.
said that.
Yeah, those wagons are wonderful. And the thing that I love about it is it really taps into a bit of history as well of the
Mm-hmm.
US and the
Mm-hmm.
days of past. So it kind of gives you this melancholy a little bit. And I'm really interested that you said that as well, because that whole experience and the fact that people are kind of wanting to go back, they're wanting to go back to
Yeah.
vintage, they're wanting to go back to experience the things of the past. I
Yeah.
think it's really relevant at the moment. I don't know if you follow Gary Vee at all.
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit.
So he's sharing something at the moment, which obviously people love him or hate him. It doesn't really
He's
matter.
very polarizing in one way or another. Totally.
He is. He is, absolutely. But he also really understands and has his finger on the pulse
He does.
of what the different generations are wanting and where things are going in the future.
Hmm.
And he shared a really interesting insight where he was saying that people are wanting experiences again. And actually, the reason that this is generating, becoming more is because of AI and is
Yep.
because, let's
Yep.
say, in about 2 to 3 years from now, there's going to be a place that we all find ourselves in where when we go online, we're not going to actually know what's true, what's real,
Oh my
what's
gosh, we're
not.
so close. Yeah.
But it's just going to be really shocking. And I think people at first may kind of put up with it for a bit, but I think after that they're going to start saying, I just can't do this anymore because I don't know what I'm looking at. And I do actually think that we may find ourselves in a point where it might actually kill the internet or some parts of the internet because people are just not going to know what's true and what's not. So as
Yeah.
a result, he's saying that Gen Alpha, which is my daughter's age, she's very young. They're the first generation that's fully digitalized. So that's all they've known. They've not known anything else. I'm Gen X. So I was only with computers at the end of my schooling. And
Same.
so, yeah, I'm really
Same.
old. And,
I'm your same age, or at least the same demographic.
way better for than I do. But the whole thing is that Gen Alpha is starting to say, I've got to come offline. They're actually starting to come offline.
They
And
are.
his argument was that actually what's going to happen is that Gen Alpha are going to start finding ways to come offline. And then also we're going to find the other generations, so mine, Gen X, yours, Gen X, and then millennials and Gen
Hmm.
Z.
Hmm.
And so we're all going to start looking for in-person events,
100%.
retreats, health events. So where we can improve our wellness, our health, our de-stress, where we can connect with people in a real way, in a way that we feel is actually a proper human, authentic way. And I think because the way the internet is going, that the only choice we're going to have is to be offline, going to
Yeah.
events, going to
Yeah.
expos, going to retreats like yours, going to music festivals and other festivals. These are going to be the experiences. And and also because we're seeing it in behavior even before AI came along, we started seeing, people are collecting vinyl, they're collecting cassettes and CDs and playing it on old uh, machinery, old music
Yeah.
systems, because
Yeah.
people are desiring this simplicity of the past that we had, just the same as your wagon.
Yeah.
It was simpler times, wasn't it? You're actually staying in comfort, but under the stars outside and having
Yeah.
this wonderful experience with our loved ones where we're not plagued by Wi-Fi and plagued by devices and we're enjoying some kind of event at the same time. I mean, this is something that is starting to show up in the
Yeah.
behavior of humans, which is being completely and utterly fueled by AI and this new movement of technology, which I think has taken us all by surprise by how fast it's been going.
Yes.
And it's quite shocking, I think. And we're all needing that support of each other to kind of go, hold on a minute, I'm not sure about this, actually. And I
It's so
know that
true.
I want to put my phone down a lot more.
It's so true. I have a harder time, I'll admit I was one of those people who would just scroll. My daughter calls it calls it doom scrolling, but you
Yeah.
just, would scroll. And now I have such a hesitation because you absolutely don't know what's real. I don't.
Mm,
I can hardly tell.
mm,
I can hardly
mm,
tell what's real. And so you see something and you're like, oh my gosh, then you find out it's fake. And then, oh my gosh, and you find out it's fake over and over and over again to where you're like, forget it. So
mm,
that's the first thing. I could not agree more. The second thing is every time we make things better with AI or some new tool or a gadget or whatever, it's supposed to free up our time. But Sarah, all we're
mm,
doing is filling that free time up with more
mm,
digital work so that
mm,
we are now, creating these work scenarios, and whether it's for your personal life or your business life, it doesn't even matter, but that we are so consumed with the digital world, apps and programs and AI
mm,
systems and chat box. I mean, just so many different things that we are dying inside to get back to the simpler parts. And that is
mm,
nature. That is less digital. That is, connecting with another human, a live human,
mm,
preferably
mm,
in person. I mean,
mm,
this is wonderful, Sarah, that we could talk like this because you're in the UK and that's great. But we crave, and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger to have that in-person connection, that fireside chat, right? Where you're just sitting around the fire. There's not even a damn digital light on. It's just a fire pit and a conversation and this true connection. And so I couldn't agree more with the direction that we're heading, which is great news for those of us that host retreats, and even
mm.
better news for those of us that host retreats in glamping environments and or building a glamping venue.
Mm, absolutely, I think so, and I think it's where we're going. And we did see it after the pandemic a little bit. That after the
100%.
pandemic, everyone having been locked away and not able to do the normal things, they all craved being with people, craved doing things where they were in nature. And we saw a massive spike of
Hmm.
bookings in the glamping industry.
Yep.
I'm actually quite fortunate that a lot of my work, I get to see behind the scenes of glamping sites. So I get to see
Yeah.
what's going on in their bookings and all kinds of stuff. And you see the human behavior completely within that data and how it's
Hmm.
changing and how it's moving and being manipulated by external forces such as social media, such as AI, whatever it might be. And I'm definitely seeing, I mean, at the moment, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown because of what the politicians are doing
God,
and everything
help
else
us all.
going on in the world. And we
Yes.
won't get onto that conversation.
We won't, but we all recognize it's a real thing and it is having some impact, and that's what we'll say
It's
about that.
having some impact,
Yes.
absolutely. But I think that if you look at the future, this is a really great industry to be in.
Hmm.
And one of the other reasons I know that to be true is because myself and Steph Curtis Raleigh, who organized the Glamping Show conference, we have the enviable position of speaking with some incredible people like yourself and others. And some of those have been people who have had AI businesses. They
Hmm.
have sold it onto the bigger businesses
Yep.
like Microsoft and everything. And what are they doing with that money? They are investing it into experiential hospitality, such as
Yep.
glamping.
Yep.
And they are actually saying, this is where we want to be. This is where we're seeing the future. This is where we think humans will want to go and want to have those real experiences. How we're actually going to be monitoring that and selling the places, I don't know in the future, because I do believe that we are going into a future of people are losing their trust. It's eroding from what they're seeing online. So
Yeah.
how people are actually going to make those bookings, I don't know. And I think what we're going to see is rapid changes over the next few years. And that will also translate across to retreats. So how are you selling
Yeah.
your retreat? How are you marketing your retreat? How are
Yes.
people going to find that in the
How
future?
are you
What booking
visible?
platforms? Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. All
Yeah.
of that.
Visibility is changing. It's actually, to me, it's changing. I feel like I'm exaggerating, but it almost feels daily. Like the
Yeah, I know,
visibility
you're right.
algorithms are
Mm,
changing, and it's unbelievable at the pace and it's unbelievable. I do want to touch base on something because you mentioned, these people who own these companies and they sell them, and then they're going into these, it's so funny, the opposite spaces. I
mm,
belong to Genius Network. It's kind of like a network mastermind group, but we had a gentleman by the name of Ron Carlson that was just speaking to us the other day. And Sarah, he's a multi-billionaire, financial, this whole nine yards, and he sold off a piece of his company, so he's like more of a sideline managing partner. Anyway, and he opened up a glamping retreat center
mm,
instead and is focusing
mm,
now his whole mission. You can look him up, Ron Carlson. His whole mission now is to reconnect people back to love.
mm.
Like what? And it just, to me, it's
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying, is like these people who have built these massive empires, or not, whichever, but you're in this grind space, right? Whatever it is. It could be corporate, it could be your own business, it could be whatever, but you're in this grinding space. And then you look around one day and you're like, I don't want to do this. This is no,
Mm,
I feel so disconnected. I feel so disconnected. And so you offload it, sell it, close it, whatever. And instead you go in this other direction. And I'm seeing it happen more and more of entrepreneurs doing that. And at the same time, it's a great problem, Sarah, because at the same time, problem, I don't know if that's the right word, people are craving these experiences. And so
mm,
they're coming together in a really pretty way. But to your point, you've got to also keep up. Even though we want to disconnect from the digital as an entrepreneur, we still do have to keep up with how are we going to be visible? How are we going to be
mm,
found? I
mm.
love that you said it's scary, but I also love that you said, the internet is going to it's going to, you said the word kill. It could be kill pieces of it. It could be whatever you want to call it. But I'm like, are we going back to the yellow pages?
Yeah, well, we don't know.
We
I mean, this is the
don't.
thing. Anything is possible. That's the
Yeah.
crazy thing about the times at the moment, the disruption that's happening and
Yeah.
everything with AI, politicians, everything, anything could happen. So
Yep.
next year, everything could be different. And
Yeah.
we just don't know. And we have to be prepared for everything.
We do.
And now is a time for upskilling,
Yeah.
but people, when I say that, they go, "Oh my God, I'm not going to have to learn the code, am I?" It's like, no, you don't. Not
You don't.
anymore. No, AI has had this major upgrade, which means that no one has to code. We can just give instruction and we can get back what we
Yeah.
want. But I mean, I am talking about AI in both ways. So I believe that it's a disruptor. It's going to bring massive change, massive transformation. But I also believe that it's an incredible tool that we all need to use if we are business owners and understand how to use it in the way that we're using it authentically and that we
Hmm.
are the director and we're not just letting it do the job and not monitoring it, but we are actually the director and we're giving instruction and we're monitoring how it's being used. I think that's the key. And that it's always tailored in a way that is beneficial for our customer, for the people who are
Yeah.
interacting with our businesses. But I think this is where I'm assuming most of your audience are either retreat leaders or they are aiming to run a retreat center, something like that.
Hmm.
Because they are so, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they're probably right-brained, so they're more kind of creative, they're more kind of loving, they want to create things and they're much more wellness focused, people focused, that kind of person. To get the marketing right and to get the customers through the door, you have to be much more left-brained, which is
Right.
analytical and paying
Financial
attention to
focused,
data, financial,
P&Ls.
absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes,
And and because we know with marketing particularly, marketing is just a whole load of experiments that you run to see what works, what sticks, and you can only do that by looking at the data.
that's
And
right.
data is very, very left brain.
Yep.
So this is where I think retreat leaders and retreat center owners do struggle a bit
Yeah.
because they are very in their right part of their brain. They're not very much in the left part of the brain. And AI can really help with that. It can
Yeah.
digest the information, it can produce summaries, which a right-brained person can then make a decision on. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a tool.
I agree. I like to tell people now that AI, Sarah, is what the internet was when it first came out and everybody poo-pooed it and said, who's going to use that? It's not going to be, I mean, literally, it was so poo-pooed, and you cannot function today as a business without the internet. You just can't. I don't care what kind of unique, amazing story you have, you got to have the internet. And then the second thing it happened, the next wave happened with social media. When social media first became a thing, people are like, oh, you're not going to need that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to challenge that too, because pretty much today, I would say 99.999% of your businesses, if you don't have a social media presence of some sort, that is a trust factor for people now. It's just you pretty much have to have it. And now I'm going to say the same thing about AI. If you are
Mm,
not utilizing AI in some form or fashion that benefits you, your business, and your customers, you are going to fall behind, period. And it's going to be, and listen, I'm get so much resistance with this, Sarah. I don't know if you do in your day to day, but
mm,
there's a lot of these right brained, and yes, most of the audience is, although there's definitely a good mix to a certain degree. But my right brained folks are fighting it. It's like, oh, I don't want AI. I
mm,
don't want, this in here. I just, they're fighting it. And so the longer you fight it, the harder it is going to be for you to catch up. And so
mm,
I really do. I strongly, strongly encourage people to learn AI, to learn the AI tools that will work for your business, but also to
mm,
learn how to use it ethically. And this word gets used too much, but authentically, so that it's still you driving the bus. But you got to use it. I'm
mm.
Sarah, you got to use it.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. You've got to be the captain of your own ship, haven't you?
Yeah.
But you do have workers, which now are AI, that
Yep.
you can use to steer the
Yep.
ship and help you go faster and help you have more success. And yeah, I hear it all the time from my clients in the glamping world when they say to me, look, I didn't start this business to sit in front of a computer all the time. And that is never more true than it is now, apart from the fact that now AI can help you do the tasks more
Yeah.
efficiently so you don't have to sit in front of the computer all the
Correct.
time.
Correct.
So it's a really good way of helping you just change your day to day and have a better life and
Yep.
a lifestyle that you want to have. But
Yeah.
it's about accepting it. And it's almost like some people in the glamping world, hospitality world, they think it's cheating to use AI.
I hear that too.
So I get it. I do get it. And I do understand why people say that. But by not really focusing in on, okay, where are the tools? What are the tools? How can they help me do this job, this job, this job? Then people are missing a trick. And
Yeah.
the other thing to say is that all of their competitors will definitely be using that stuff.
100%.
So,
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
what we're seeing with competitors. We're seeing competition just increase. So
Yeah.
that's what we have to really try hard to overcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's end with you just telling us a little bit more about what people can expect. I know I briefly talked about it, but what people can expect at the Glamping Show USA this year.
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you so much, Shannon. It's lovely to talk about this. So we have all kinds of things. We have displays, we have big structures. You can walk inside structures. You can stand on top of structures. You can talk to the people who create them. You can even drive around in some amazing four-wheel vehicles if they have them this year. And then at the conference, we have people like yourself and others who are incredible. They share their expertise. It's really current information, allowing people to understand things like how can they finance their glamping business? How, what are the different options? How can they get more guests? What structures to use, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's just, I always say to people, come with something to write notes
100%.
and wear a really good pair of shoes that don't make your feet ache, because you will be on your feet all day. You will be talking to people all day. You will be wanting to write notes all day. It feels incredible. It's like someone once said, it's like drinking from a fire hose. Information just like coming at you. It's so crazy.
Yep.
But very exciting as well. And so that's what we've got at the Glamping Show this year. If anyone wants to go and check that out, they can go to glampingshow.us. And if they want to speak to me about glamping structures and how to set up a glamping site, typical permissions and everything else that they might need, how to get the funding for it, that they can check me out on my own website, which is glamping.academy, or just search for Sarah Riley and you'll find me. Sarah Riley Glamping, and I tend to pop up. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing something that we're both very passionate about. And I cannot wait to see you in September.
I'm really excited to look forward to it. Thank you so much, Shannon, for taking the time to chat with me today. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you in September. See you then.
Thanks for tuning in to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. If you love this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your retreat besties. Want more support? Grab free resources at theretreatleadersplaybook.com. Until next time, lead boldly, serve deeply, and retreat profitably.